And then the session gets placed into our coaching platform. If you have not joined our coaching platform, please do so. If this is your first time here, we're going to go through a couple different things. Mike, if you could be so kind to put the link in the chat box for our coaching platform. It is thefreedomsop.com, stands for Standard Operating Procedure, thefreedomsop.com. Once you join thefreedomsop.com, it forever will be free to you. We are constantly building it out. Right now, I think we got about 70 to 100 videos in there for training purposes. And our goal is that by the end of the year, by December 31st, 2022, we want to have 350 plus training and coaching videos inside this platform. More importantly, all of these sessions that we do every single week, every Thursday, 11 a.m., same exact link every single time, by the way, right? Get recorded, and then they get placed inside of that platform, okay? So when you join into the platform and you click on courses, one of the courses is going to say Weekly Freedom Achievers Webinar. And if you missed it one week, you could jump in there, you could check it out, okay? So the freedomsop.com is the site for that. There's also a community feed in there. So our goal is to create community, right? Because as you grow and you develop in your business, there's nothing more important than being surrounded by people that are like-minded and want to continue growth, right? And so what we did was we chose a platform that allowed for a community feed. So you can actually go in there and post things, right? You could post, hey, I'm having a problem with this, or I have a question about this platform. Anybody ever used this platform before? And because we're all like-minded individuals and we consider ourselves to be freedom achievers, we get to be in there and we participate with each other. We also have selected coaches that look for these types of comments, and we go in there and we participate. Now, I'm highly participative inside this group, so you'll see me commenting and posting a lot. So just look out for it, man. More importantly, when you guys sign in, it's going to ask you if you want to download the app. The app's a really good idea because it's much easier to use from your phone. And it gives you full access to the courses and everything else. All the courses are recorded with video. We're also going to be working on pamphlets and worksheets and everything else you could ever imagine to help you in your business, right? So again, 100% free to you guys, man. We just want to continue to give and give and give to our real estate community. All right, so that's that. Never met me before, and you're here for the first time. My name is David Adam Kurz. I served 9 years in the United States Marine Corps, got out of the Corps, became a salesperson at the same time, got my real estate license, went crazy one day and decided that I hated being a salesperson. Those of you that have full-time jobs, I had this job where I had this headset and I had 3 or 4 screens in front of me, and I was in this tiny little cubicle, and I began to call it my coffin because I'd spent 9 years in the field, guys. You know what I mean? Like, I carried guns and ran through trees and shit like that, you know? And so I went from that to sitting in the coffin. And so when it started to feel too much like a coffin, an opportunity came up for a sales manager position. And I was the #1 sales guy on the floor every year, 3 years in a row. And I went for the sales position and I told my manager that I was interested in that sales position. And his response to me was, unfortunately, we're looking for someone who has sales manager experience. And if we take you off the floor, our sales will decrease by 40%. And I was like, yeah, no, there's no space for me here. So coffin started to feel like it was closing, right? And so I decided I'm going to put my real estate license to work because I was just dabbling at the time. And I said, when I make enough money to supplement my salary for 2-3 months, I'm out of here. And so every morning, guys, I want you to hear this out because today we're going to talk about how to make your days smoother, and we're going to talk about how to make it more effective. For 2 months, every day, this was my schedule. I would wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I would drive an hour because my job was an hour away from where I lived, okay? I would drive an hour to get closer to where my job was, and I would go to the LA Fitness close to the office. I would work out. I would take a shower there. I would get dressed, and I would get into the office early. I asked if I could have key and everything else, right? Get into the office early. When I would get into the office early, because I didn't have to start work till 9 o'clock, gave me an opportunity to go sit in the break room, open my computer, and do some real estate stuff. 9 a.m., I would go sell carbon steel pipe. That's what I did. Like you're building bridges and stuff like that. I sold carbon steel pipe. Guys, I sat in an office and sold things I'd never seen before. Okay. And then from that time, Mike, we need to let some folks in. There's a lot of people in the waiting room, sir. We got from that time, 9 a.m., I would go work and sell that carbon steel pipe like no other. At lunchtime, 12 o'clock, I went back to the break room. I put in lunch while I was doing some real estate stuff. 1 p.m., I went back to work. 5 p.m., I would leave the office, and there was this Starbucks by Aventura Mall. And I would go to this Starbucks and I would find a seat, and I would work till about 7 p.m. on my real estate stuff. From 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m., I would show houses or meet with clients or do those kinds of things, right? Listing appointments, so forth, so on. I would get home somewhere around 10 p.m. That's when I would write contracts if necessary, catch up on my paperwork, do that kinds of stuff. I would go to sleep sometime around 12, 12:30 in the morning. And I would wake up again at 4:30 in the morning to do it again. I did this every day. Why? Because I was determined to climb out of my coffin. And I tell you this story not to prove that I'm a badass. I'm telling you the story to prove to you that you're a badass and you're completely capable of doing anything in the world. So if you feel like you're in this crazy position, some of you have jobs and you're like in this weird spot and you want to go real estate full-time. I spoke to someone yesterday that said, I got this job. I want to go real estate full-time. I don't know how to get out of it. I said, we got to talk, girl. We got to talk because it's completely possible. All it's going to take is massive determination on your side. But you notice that this happened for me 15 years ago. And I could still tell you my times and my schedule. To this day, my day was so ordained and so put in place that I ran this like no other. I ran my day like I just went back to the military and I put it in my mindset, right? Like if the team said at 9 a.m. or at 5 a.m. we were doing PT and you had to be on the parade deck, guess what? You couldn't be there at 5:05. You messing with your career, you show up 5 minutes late. And that's the way I started to think about what I did on a daily basis. And so I got massively committed. It took me 2 months, guys. In 2 months, I was able to sell enough homes to make up for the income that I was making in my day job, which, by the way, I was making like $150,000, $160,000 a year. So it wasn't no small feat. Put the money away. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I took a week off. I put in my 2 weeks and then I took a week off because I was beat. You got to take care of yourself too. You know, when you put that type of schedule in, you can't do that for a very long time. We're not machines. Even machines fall apart. So you got to take care of yourself too, right? Give yourself time. And then after that week was over, I started to look and say, okay, no one's going to crack the whip. No one's going to say you got to be here on time. No one's going to say anything. They're just going to push me to go do this. And I did it. And thank God, multiple times I've built $100 million teams. I've built full brokerages. I wrote 2 books. I'm writing my 3rd book now. So if you've never met me before, I'm that lunatic that has 5 different projects on his plate at the same time all the time. But this is so important to me to be able to do this with you guys that I want to be able to give this to you all the time. So first thing we do when we come to the Freedom Achievers training is we go to the chat box, and the first thing we write in the chat box is, it's a freedom day. Where are my pros at? The folks that have been with me for a long time. It's a freedom day. Now, let me explain this to you while you type this out, because I want you to feel the energy from this, right? Why are you here right now? Why are you trying to get educated with David Kurz right now, right? Why are you participating in the Freedom Achievers training? Because you want to figure out a way to make more money in this business so you can buy yourself one thing. Freedom, whether that be financial freedom, health freedom, location freedom, right? Some of us are trying to be able to do this from any place in the world, right? Location freedom is a beautiful thing. freedom to spend more time with your family, freedom to develop more business, freedom to expand into new states. Freedom is such a beautiful word, guys. And we have this crazy ability to do that. And so many people think of real estate, they immediately think, okay, cool, I'm gonna get my real estate license and I'm gonna go sell some houses and I'm gonna earn some commissions and I'm gonna make some money. Very few people get into this business and think, I'm gonna sell some houses, I'm gonna make some money, then I'm gonna take some of that money, I'm gonna reinvest it back into myself through education and staff. I'm gonna hire an assistant, and then that assistant's gonna turn into a couple buyer's agents. Then I'm gonna hire an in-house TC, and then I'm gonna hire an office manager, and then I'm gonna expand to another city, and then I'm gonna expand into a third city, and I'm gonna rinse and repeat my method in everywhere I go. And then you know what? I'm tired of being in Florida or wherever you are. I'm gonna open in Texas, or I'm gonna go to Virginia, or I'm gonna go to New York because I have connections there, and I'm gonna build a team there, and I'm gonna rinse and repeat what I did here over there. In 5 years, you could have teams in 6 states if you wanted to, operating at full speed. You could do it, but very few real estate agents jump into the method that way. Now, am I telling you that if you come here, that's the way we're going to push you? Absolutely not. What I'm telling you is that you're going to get what you need out of this, and you're going to do what you want to do, period, end of story. Because not everybody wants to have teams in 6 states. It's fucking mind-blowing. It's a lot of work. It's crazy. You know what I mean? You're all the time, you're at 100 miles an hour. There's no slowing down, right? When one state is working perfectly, the other state's critical. When one state's critical, the other state is on fire. It's lunacy. You have to love that to do that. Feel what I'm saying? You have to love that to do that. So some of you are in here and you're going, that's cool, Dave. I just want to sell houses and make money and do it myself. And maybe hire an assistant to, like, you know, write paperwork for me because I hate that part. I'm not gonna lie. That's my least favorite thing to do is write contracts and follow up on paperwork, right? But people, I can do people all day long. So we have leverage for that, you know? So today I'm going to talk to you guys about the top 3 things that you guys can do to make your day smoother, leverage your days, and have more effective and more successful days. Now, one of the things that I'm going to tell you, which is the third thing, is the most difficult thing that you can do, okay? But I will tell you this, if you do it, my God, it'll change your life, guys. I've done it before. I've done it multiple times, actually. And unfortunately, when I coach large groups to do what I'm going to tell you today, about 5% of the group does it. And most of that 5%, they kind of give up after a little bit. So I'm going to give it to you in a very easy fashion, okay? But I hope and pray that it's something that you guys do. Now, if you guys are looking pretty, or looking however you look, turn your cameras on, because I like to see people, like to see reactions. I want to make sure you're not like dozing off and falling asleep during my conversation with you guys, right? I love seeing cameras, guys. All right, so we've already thought about this, and in the future, we're going to make cameras on mandatory because we got to interact, right? You see me, I want to see you too, you know? All right, so big shout out to Enrico. I see Roger, I see Linda, I see Carmen, I see Glory. Hey, Glory. I see Jeannie. I see Violeta. I see, who else can I see? All right, the rest of y'all, I'm expecting. I know some of y'all fixing your faces right now. I see iPhone 2. I see Paola. All right, guys, so let's go with number 1. Can you guys see that okay? Or do I need a thicker marker? Let me know.
Yeah, definitely thicker.
Yeah?
Yeah, you can't see that at all, David.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna make sure we can see this good. Okay. Better?
Much better.
Nice. All right. So first thing we're going to talk about is time blocking. Okay. And the reason we talk about this is because I believe that if you don't schedule yourself well enough throughout your day, your day will be all about catching. You be the catcher in the baseball field, right? You guys know baseball. There's a pitcher and a catcher, right? The pitcher throws the ball all day long, hundreds of pitches for one game for 9 innings, and this poor catcher is squatted down and just catching, bam, 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 the whole time, right? And the entire time that he's doing this, he has no other job. And that's what happens to us on a regular basis. We wake up in the morning and we just catch and take on what the day delivers. How do we control that? How do we shift that? How do we become unafraid to tell people, sorry, I can't do that at that time. I have something else going on, but we can do it at this time. And here's the crazy part: as real estate agents, which most of us are on this call right now, what happens is the crazy part is we have something important as lead generation or follow up with my sphere of influence on our calendars. Most of you don't even have that on your calendar, which is why we're going to talk about time blocking right now. Okay. We have that on our calendars. We know how important that is. We know that doing that is the reason why we have clients to begin with right now. But a client says, and I want to go see properties at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And you look at your calendar and it says you got lead follow up from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And you go, sure, let's go look at houses, because you freak out. They want to look at houses, right? And selling houses is how we make money, right? Problem is, you ain't gonna have nobody to sell a house to if you can't pick up the phone and find those folks. Does that make sense to y'all? Give me a thumbs up if it does, right? And so when you think about this for a second, right? How important or how imperative is it for you to stay doing the things that got you to make money in the first place anyway? And that's where people forget. So what happens? Real estate agents run into this crazy cycle. Sales is cyclical for most real estate people, for most salespeople, as a matter of fact. I don't care if you sell bicycles or lollipops, right? You get on the phone and you hustle and you grind 2 hours a day, bam, 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 bam. And you talk to 1,000 people a month and you just go insane. And 5, 6 people say, I want to sell my house or I want to buy a house. Now you got 5, 6 clients on your plate. You get too busy to do what got you to 5, 6 people in the first place. So then what happens? You stop doing the groundwork, the grunt work, the basic work, the boots on, the street work. You go work with the clients. You close 3 out of 5 of them because 2 of them fall apart and now they're back on the hunt for another house. And you don't have anybody else in the pipeline. So now you close these deals, you made some money in 60 days, 90 days, but now you got another 60-day, 90-day gap. Instead of having the consistency of massive closings every single month, because you keep the pattern going. And that's why time blocking is so important, right? So let's talk about what's important in real estate for you to succeed. Definitely. Lead generation. I don't care how you lead generate, by the way. I don't care if you use Zillow, Zillow, Realtor.com, Johnson.com. I don't care who's sending you, OpCity, 30%, blah, blah, blah. Sphere of influence is my favorite one. And we're going to talk about something real quick when I do this real quick. Okay. But sphere of influence is my favorite opportunity for growth. 100%. And sphere of influence sometimes is not accessible for some people, because some people say, hey, listen, I just moved to this area, right? So I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do to find people, because everyone I know or everyone that's in my cell phone's in a different area. So some of those folks need to generate the business in the local area first. And that could happen through Google Ads, Facebook presence, Instagram. Like, that's a whole nother class on how to bring that to the table, right? But since lead generation is so critical, how many times a week do you think you should be lead generating? Just give me your fingers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do you think? It's 5-day-a-week job, 4-day-a-week job. Some of y'all say 5. Some of y'all say 2. Okay. Some of y'all say 5. I've seen 4 or 5. Okay. So here's the thing. Lead generation is so important that it should be done 4 to 5 times a week. Okay. And here's why I'm going to tell it to you. Lead generation needs to be divided up. And this is where people think, okay, 5 days a week, I'm going to call leads that registered on my website. Dave, give me a break. Well, you're asking the wrong person because I'm a freaking lunatic. Okay. I will call you every day until you pick up the phone and send me to hell or buy a house with me. I am going to drive you crazy. You registered on my website, your fault. You gave me your phone number. I will call you every single day. Folks are looking at me right now like, dude, that's annoying. It's okay. If they send you to hell and they don't want to buy with you, they weren't going to buy with you to begin with. They just got on your website and were looking at properties. Shoot, I live in Miami. All the time I get people that just wanted to see where Mark Anthony bought a house. Where's J-Lo living now? I get 14-year-olds lead generating on leads on my stuff. Okay. So break it up so that one day you do your sphere of influence. Okay. The next day you do past clients. 2 days a week, you should be handling leads that you have never spoken to. And then 1 day a week, you should have follow-up. So I've got 1, 2, 1, 1. So I've got 3, 4, 5 days right there. That's 5 days of lead generation. See, when people are telling, you know, you got a lot of folks out there that say, you got lead generate, you got lead generate, you got lead generate, but they're not telling you where to get it. And I'm telling you, spend a couple of days dealing with new flow, new leads, people you've never spoken to, people that registered on your website, never picked up the phone. Stay on that. Your follow-up day, that's the day that you follow up with people that you've spoken to and they say they're not ready yet or whatever the case is, right? Because you're a consultant, because you're a real estate agent, because you are like a life coach, a therapist, and all this other good stuff, right? We realize that, you know, there's going to be that person that says, I'm not ready right now. My credit's kind of low, this and that, blah, blah. They spoke with your lender. You got it all confirmed. They're not ready yet. They just need to make 3 moves with their credit and save X amount of dollars to make it happen. And you guys came up with a plan with these folks. You need to follow up with this person every week and hold them accountable for purchasing a house. They will never, ever, ever forget that from you. They will never forget that, right? If you spend 6 months helping somebody prepare for the purchase of a house and then you get them into a home, you will be like a freaking hero. Like the Superman stamp will be on your chest every time you walk through their door. How critical is that? It's crazy, because when you work with your past clients, what are you looking for? First, you're looking to see how they're doing. Second, you're looking to see if they got referrals for you, because 1 closed deal should turn into 3 referrals over the next 12 to 18 months. Why doesn't that happen for most agents? Because most agents treat deals like a transaction. It's like you go to McDonald's, you order number 2, you get the 2 cheeseburgers, you get the Coca-Cola, you get the French fries, right? And then you walk away. Is that person at the other side of the counter, are they going to check in on you next week and see how that food was? They're not, because it's a transaction. And that's how most real estate agents treat their business. 90% of agents never speak to their clients again. Here's the crazy part. NAR stats, right? The National Association of Realtors says that 80% of people would use their realtor again. They enjoyed the experience. They would use them again. But less than half of them actually remember who their realtor was. Why is that? Whose fault is that? Is that their fault for not keeping your phone number in their phone? No, it's our fault. It's our fault, 100%. It's 100% our fault, right? So understanding that lead generation is so critical, should you time block this? Absolutely. Now, your blocks are completely up to you, but I'm going to give you some examples. I'm going to treat this like a 5-day calendar. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Right? This is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. Monday, When do you think the best time to lead generate on a Monday is? Give me a finger, say like, or type it in the chat box, 9 a.m. Somebody wrote 9 a.m. Type it in the chat box. What do you think best time to lead generate on a Monday is? 5 to 7, 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 8 to 12, 10 a.m. All right, beautiful thing. Here we go. Statistically, on a Monday, 11 to 1 p.m. is the best time. Do you know why? Because Mondays are Mondays. And most of the people you're calling, they didn't work all weekend like we did, right? Most of the people you're calling, this is their first day back at the office. So if you're lead generating from 9 to 11, well, you're calling them in the beginning of their crazy day. If you call them from 5 to 7 p.m., you're calling them at the end of a Monday. But if you reach out to them between 11 and 1, chances are you get them during lunch. Does that make sense to you guys? All right. Tuesdays, 9 to 11, Wednesdays, 9 to 11, Thursdays, 5 to 7, Fridays, 9 to 11. Monday's an anomaly. Now, if you wanted to lead generate 4 days a week versus 5 days a week, right? Like some people say, look, I'm not going to do 5 days a week. I'm going to do 4 days a week. I say, okay, cool. Kill Monday. Kill Monday. Don't do it on Monday. Fridays, people say, no, let's kill Friday because Friday's Friday. Everybody, yeah, man, Friday. People are happy on Friday. TGIF. Think about it, right? They're excited. They're more open to having a conversation with you on a Friday than they are on Monday morning. I promise you that. Right? They already got through the week. They're looking forward to Saturday and Sunday. By the way, Thursday and Friday, your entire mission in life is to get appointments for this weekend. Because that's what we do. We work on the weekends with realtors, right? All right. So if I block this, if these are my blocks, am I allowed to book anything else during this time? Yes or no? Type it in the chat box. If it is Thursday and I'm time blocked from 5 to 7 to follow up with my sphere of influence, and somebody says, I want to see a house at 5 p.m. Am I allowed to cancel my lead gen? No. The answer is no. You have an appointment with yourself. Now, here's where it gets ugly. Respect yourself enough to not allow somebody else to dictate your time. Hey, I'm not available between 5 and 7. I'm booked. We can either do 4 p.m. or I can meet up with you about 7:15 at this house. What do you think? Guess what? People will adjust to you. You just got to ask. Problem is, back to the baseball analogy, we're always catching. So, and believe it or not, the more people you're working with, the more all of this will get disrupted. Every day, somebody's going to couple with something for you to do during a time block. Here's where it gets better, right? We're talking about respecting yourself, taking care of yourself, doing all that kind of stuff, right? Do you believe that we should be exercising, meditating, taking care of our bodies and our minds and our souls and our health? Yes or no? Put it in the group, put it in the chat, right? Absolutely. Yes, we should be taking care of ourselves. If your time block to take care of yourself, everybody does it different. Some folks like to work out in the evening. I can't work out in the evening. I'm too exhausted in the evening. I have to work out in the morning. During my workout time, am I allowed to speak to a client? Am I allowed to go to social media? Am I allowed to check what's happening with my friend? Am I allowed to pick up phone calls? Am I allowed to answer text messages? No, that's my time. I have an appointment with myself at the gym. I respect myself enough to work out, get through the workout. And because I do it early enough, I shouldn't have any fires that I have to take care of at 6 a.m. that I can't handle at 8 a.m. Does that make sense? Right? And so when you think about that stuff, you think about having a tremendous amount of respect for yourself and your business. Time blocking will make your days run so much smoother. By the way, you can also time block the times that you show properties. Or you could say, on my empty slots is when I'll show properties. So when you're time blocking, so we could get through this. You want a time block, obviously lead generation, because we talked about that. You want a time block, self-time. And I'll show you guys my calendar. I have in my calendar, I have a separate time block for prayer and meditation than I do for the gym time. They're separate time blocks because I don't do them at the same time, right? I can't lift dumbbells laying down and meditate at the same time. It's just not the right mix, right? I got to listen to Dre and Snoop. That's not meditation. That's a whole different world. I'm in a different mindset, right? And so for me, lead generation, self-care, showing times, family time, and if you got a family, or if that's even important to you, I'm just being real. Some people, they want to go in so hard on their businesses that they make sacrifices. So it's understandable. I would never judge anybody for the sacrifices they make to succeed. I've made a fair share of them myself over the years, right? What else do you think is important, right? Lead generation is your biggest one. That's going to lead. Lead generation leads to showings, listing appointments, meetings, buyer consults, right? Leads to all that stuff. So you can fill in all your empty gaps with that kind of stuff. If you can do this, your days will run significantly smoother. If you can track your time and really block it out on your calendar. So I use Google Calendar and I follow the model. If it's not on my calendar, it does not exist. If you think you made an appointment with me at 2 p.m. today and it is not on my calendar, we will not be on that appointment. I apologize, but it's not going to happen. My calendar is so strict that I'm able to use a program called Calendly. I'm sure some of you have heard of it. And on Calendly, I have different links for different appointments you can make with me. Whether you're a buyer or seller, whether you're an agent who needs one-on-one coaching and you want to talk about that, whether you're looking to join a company or whatever the case is, I have different options. And those time blocks, I have Calendly set up in a way where each appointment is a certain amount of time, let it be 30 minutes or maybe an hour or whatever the case is. And it's tied to my calendar. So what happens is you can go in there and you can book yourself on my calendar. And if it's open on my calendar, it will book. It'll be available to you. If it's not open on my calendar, it won't be available. And because I've gotten very good at time blocking and very good at working my calendar, when you book that time and it shows up on there, I'm going to be there. I have nothing else scheduled. I'm going to be there for you, right? And so you could do this with buyers and sellers. Some people are afraid of that, right? Like people are afraid, hey, listen, you know, I'm thinking about buying a house. Like I just pick a name, right? Like Karina, I'm thinking about buying a house, you know? And Karina says, that's wonderful. Let's set an appointment. You know, I'm going to send you my link. Just pick a time and I'll be there. And she sends them the link. They go to the calendar. They see what works for them. They put it on there. You know, you set up the calendar. So you got the address and everything else, and it automatically comes on your calendar. And now you know where you need to be at that time. Crazy part is on those appointments, you could create buffers. So if it's a buyer's consultation that you're actually going to have to go meet somebody, or a listing presentation where you can create 30-minute buffers before and after the appointment to give yourself drive time. This is automatic, right? You're creating the automation of your day and respecting yourself enough to track your day. Now, my days typically run till about 8:30 p.m. Not everybody has to run their days like that. You know, my days run from about 6 a.m. to about 8:30 p.m. Not everybody needs to do that, but I do a bunch of different stuff. I got different projects, right? You can pick and choose your times. I'm going to tell you a little secret. Every Friday morning at 10 a.m., I go get a haircut. It's time blocked from 10 to 12, straight up. I don't have anything blocking the time before 10. So I have it open for phone calls because I do it from the car, right? I could take a call from 9 to 10, sitting in my car, headed out to the barber. But from 10 to 12, I'm out of pocket on Fridays. I'm Jewish, so Fridays are Shabbat. 3 p.m., my calendar shuts off on a Friday. That's it. It's important to me, right? And you know what that is for me? That's family time. That's it. That's the main piece of it, right? Because I know that I've sacrificed my family's time the rest of the week. I know that. Okay. But you don't have to do that. You can run your schedule as you see fit. All right, this cool guy, Bedros Killian. He is, if you don't know Bedros, look him up. Super cool guy, a lot of great information. And I pulled one from him. Second thing we're going to talk about today is level of importance, right? So Bedros says, and I started practicing this as soon as I heard what he said, but he said, hey, I wake up in the morning and I go to my notebook. I use my whiteboard. I love my whiteboard. And I write down the top 3 things I need to accomplish today. Right. And he said, that helps me understand that although my day is blocked and I know what I need to do that day, there are 3 specific things that I need to accomplish that have to be completed before the end of the day. Now, that could be whatever it is for you guys. Does it, everybody's different, right? But you could come here and you could say, oh, you know what? I have this contract that I got to get out today. So whatever, contract for 123 Mary Street. That's important, right? We got to get contracts out. Super important, super high level of importance, right? Then you could write down, whatever it is, let's say lead gen. Like, I can't live my life unless I get my 2 hours in, right? And another thing could be your kid's volleyball game. Like, I'm just being real here, right? We're talking life, I'm giving you my life examples. Both my kids are in volleyball, right? And so these are the top 3 things I need to accomplish today. If I don't show up to volleyball, I let my kid down. If I don't lead generate, I ain't got no business. If I don't send that contract, I'm letting my client down. These are the 3 main pieces that I accomplished today, okay? And in the open parts of my day, this is when I'm able to accomplish these 3 things, or one of those things is already blocked off anyway, right? And then, so the volleyball games tonight, I got to make sure I block that off on my calendar too, because I promise you, if I don't block it off, if I don't put, Ellie's game and block that section off, I will get booked with something else during that time. And then what am I doing? I'm either not going to her game or I'm at the game on the phone. Either way, I'm not there, right? And so to think about it that way, taking the top 3 things and placing them of level of importance creates everything, right? Now, another thing that I learned, and level of importance and top 3 priorities and your time block, they go together in a very cool way, because when you're beginning to time block, you can sit down one day and you could say, okay, look, I'm gonna work on my calendar. I'm gonna time block the hell out of myself. I'm gonna make sure that I'm doing what it takes to build my business and take it to the next level, right? And so you say to yourself, I need to write down the things that I need to do on a daily basis by level of importance. And so you write down everything and then you number it level of importance 1 through whatever it is, right? Let's say you write down 10 things, you write the level of importance 1 through 10. Your more important tasks, you block them in your mornings. Your least important tasks, you block them in your afternoons. And the reason for that is because in your mornings, you're more active, you're more alert, and you're more pushed. And so the important things get the respect that they deserve. This same method, by the way, is used when you hire your first assistant. And if you have an assistant now, this is a great task for you to do. Think about the things that you do on a daily basis and write them all down. And then what I tell folks is circle the things that you cannot pass off. There's no one else can do it. And be real with yourself, because some of us are control freaks, right? And once you've circled the things that only you could do, well, everything else becomes the job description for your new assistant. And now you just cleared up more than 50% of your time, which means that now you get to put 50% more into the things that only you can do. Does that make sense to you guys? And that's why they say when you hire your first assistant, your business should double in your first 12 months. Your business should double in your first 12 months because the assistant should be taking away things from you that are time bogging, that take time away from you and take time away from the more important things like meeting with people, because this is a people business, it's a relationship business, right? Okay. The last thing that we're going to talk about, and this is the thing that I told you that most people are going to hate and most of you will not do, but I'm still going to give it to you guys because I hope that you do. All right. So last thing is, you guys know composition books, right? Like, you guys know what I'm talking about. The composition books, the little black and white books you buy your kid for $1 at Walgreens, right? I'm gonna challenge you guys. I want each of you to go buy yourself a composition book for $1. Okay. And what I want you to do on this composition book is I want you to journal and log. Look at Georgina. She's like, I got mine right here, bro. I want you to log your day for 7 days straight. It's a very daunting task. It's a pain in the butt, telling you right now. Okay. But I've done it several times. And I promise you, at the end of the 7 days, when you do the task that I'm going to give you right now, it'll change your life. Okay. Because a lot of times we're going to sit in time block and do this and set up our calendars and so forth and so on. And then we don't realize how much time we spend doing non-money making activities. Now, this is what I want you to do. You buy the book, you'll wake up in the morning, whatever time that is, you just write that down. 6 a.m., wake up. Now, I don't need you to separate brushing your teeth, using the bathroom, taking a shower. You could say from 6 a.m. to 6:30, morning prep. Then you could say took the kids at 7 to school. Back at the house by 7:30. Maybe I work out from 7:30 to 8:30. I think workouts need to be around your schedule. You need to figure that out for yourself, right? Some people are like, oh, you got to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, be in the gym at 5, right? Well, for me, that doesn't work. I got a kid that needs to be at school at 7. So I would be rushing through the gym just to get her to school, right? So 7:30, 8:30 a workout, say 8:30 to 9, morning prep again, right? Because, you know, after you work out, you probably should take a shower before you meet your clients, right? And then let's say 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. I lead gen. And so I want you to, when you write down specific things like lead gen, I want you to also write down what you accomplished during that period of time. So let's say I lead gen 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. I made 100 phone calls. I spoke to 20 people and I set 2 appointments, right? So called, spoke, and set. CSS, called, spoke, and set. How many people I called, how many people I spoke to, and how many people I set appointments with. Whether that appointment is a listing appointment or a cup of coffee to catch up, it's an appointment set. It's time face-to-face with a potential whatever, buyer, seller, or referral person, right? Because we always think we only got to meet with buyers and sellers, but that's not true. We got to meet with people to create relationships so that they can continue to send referrals as well. That cup of coffee that you spent $5 on could bring you thousands of dollars in referral, right? But we don't often think about that. So remember that, okay? And I want you to log your day all the way through the time that you go to sleep. And then I want you to get, at the end of the 7 days, I want you to study your 7 days. I want you to buy a yellow highlighter. And I want you to buy a red highlighter. And then I want you to think about it like this. Red is stuff that just wasted time. Where did I waste time? Like if you catch yourself on social media and realize that 30 minutes went by and you were scrolling through Instagram, that's a red. Okay. If you find yourself Netflixing for 4 hours that's a red. Now, I'm not that coach that says, I don't watch TV. I got like 30 TVs in my house, people. Okay. Like, I'm not against it. I feel like if you put in an honest day, you deserve a moment for yourself. And if that moment for yourself is to catch up on the Housewives of Bel-Air, do so. Okay. I don't care. I don't care what you watch. I watch Navy SEALs and shit like that. I like military stuff, right? My wife sits next to me. My wife watches no TV. She hates TV. She sits next to me just to chill with me. And she catches up on her stuff, whatever that is, right? And so ideally, I'm not going to be the guy that tells you never to watch TV, but will be the guy to tell you that if you spent 4 hours doing it on a Wednesday, chances are you didn't put enough work on lead generation because you'd have had some appointments that day. Right. And so I want you to take the yellow markers and I want you to highlight the things that are gold. That's why we use yellow. Money making things, right? I went to the gym. That's yellow. I meditated. That's yellow. I went to breakfast with my kid or my spouse. That's yellow. That's healthy stuff for the brain, right? I lead generated and set 4 appointments. That's yellow, right? I met with somebody for a cup of coffee. That's yellow. I met a client for dinner. That's yellow. I showed some houses. That's yellow. I went to a listing appointment. That's yellow. All of that is gold. It's gold. It's the stuff that makes you money, right? It's the stuff that builds a business, okay? And then, believe it or not, not everything's going to get highlighted because you're going to look at brushing your teeth. You're going to go, what the hell is that, right? Well, it's gold, okay? Brushing your teeth is a good thing, folks, right? So maybe you don't get everything highlighted, but the point is that you're going to be able to study your week so well that you're going to realize how much time, and you can add this time up, how much time did I spend in the red? And then after you add up how much time you spend in the red, I want you to finally look at it and go, all right, according to this, I spent 300 minutes in the red. What could I have done differently? And what can I do next week to do less red and more gold? Not no red, because I promise you, there's not one day you're not going to have that you're not going to waste some time on some bullshit. Okay. But how can I do less red and more gold? How can I reduce it from 300 minutes to 100 minutes and put more gold on my plate? Maybe you add a little more time to lead gen. Maybe one day you do 2 hours in the morning and an hour in the evening to hit people that couldn't pick up the phone in the morning. Maybe one day you spend a little extra time on meditation. Maybe one day you go on a date night or family night. Those are all healthy and forward moving activities that help you in your life. Our last podcast that we recorded, it hasn't launched yet. It launches next week. But the last podcast that we recorded, we had a really solid conversation about work-life balance and the myth of work-life balance that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist, right? Like it just doesn't exist. And what we have to learn how to do as entrepreneurs, which all of you are, because you all hold a license that gives you the opportunity to work out in a 1099 on your own schedule and do what's necessary for you to grow. And you can grow it as big or as small or as medium as you want. We talked about creating a work-life mix. And that's what this journal is going to help you do. It's going to help you get rid of a lot of things that are bogging you down and not helping you grow your business or spend more time with your family. And trust me when I tell you, some of you on here are going, I can make $100,000 a year and be just fine. So I don't need to sell 50, 60 homes this year. I need to sell 10. Show me how to sell 10 houses, and then show me how I could be at every one of my kids' baseball games. And that's a win for me. I had this epiphany once, right? I used to be the coach that was all about, we all got to be winners, right? We all got to grow. We all got to take our piece of the pie. We all got to be top producers, right? And so all my trainings were very much about how to become this, how to drive what you want to drive and live how you want to live and where you want to live and just have, investment properties and this and that. I still feel that way to an extent. What I realized is that I had a single mother come up to me once at the end of a class. And she said, I loved your class. problem is I don't need this. I said, well, what do you need? She goes, I only need to make 60 grand a year. And thankfully, by that point in my life, I had learned how to put a filter between my brain and my mouth. Because if that filter wasn't there, I'd be like, what the hell? You said 60 grand a year. Let's go 60 grand a month. Like, let's push. And I stopped and I said, okay, explain this to me. She said, David, I'm a single mother. I was lucky enough to inherit a townhouse, so I don't have a mortgage. And I have 2 kids. They're both young. I don't know. Let's make up ages because I don't remember, maybe 5 and 7 or something like that, right? She said, I want to be at baseball games, flag football games. I want to be at school. I want to participate in the PTA. I want to do that stuff. That's the stuff that's important to me because I want to spend time with my kids. But I also understand that I need to make enough money to support them. I got to feed them still. I got to pay taxes on the townhouse still. I got to pay insurance still. I still got to pay for my car, things of that nature. So mathematically, I only need $60,000 a year. Show me how to make 60 grand a year. And that was the epiphany I had that day, that I realized that all of us have very different goals. All of us have very different goals in our lives. Freedom is something that is just completely up to you. It's whatever you want it to be. It's whatever it means to you. For me, it's multiple investment properties, a fantastic coaching business, residual income through the Wahoo. Why? Because my kids are a little bit older. I got a 25-year-old, a 22-year-old. I want to be able to help them out. I got 2 moms, my mother and my mother-in-law. I want to be able to buy them homes, right? And then I have 2 kids that are 12 and 14 that, let's face it, 6 years from now are going to be both gone in college, right? The youngest will be in college. You know, who here knows that 6 years goes by real fast, right? Thumbs up, 6 years will fly by, okay? So for me, my thought process is different. My thought process is, in 6 years, when everybody leaves the house, do I still want to be on the hustle and grind? Or do I want to be in a beach in Puerto Rico? That's my thought process, right? Do I want to spend more time with my wife in my older age? Or do I want to stay grinding all the time and then be the old guy that lays in bed and the nurse goes, what do you regret in life? Not spending enough time with my family, right? Like, we've all heard these quotes and seen the memes, right? And so my thought process is very different than everybody else's. My life is different. I have different kids. I have, a different lifestyle, I have different goals. For me, I don't want to stop coaching until I affect 1 million people. When I can touch 1 million people, when 1 million people on this planet could say, dude, you said one thing that changed my life, I'm in. That's the day I feel like I could rest. But that's me. That's not everybody. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. Okay. First thing is, focus on the level of importance on the things that you do on a daily basis. Number 2, time block your schedule and set your schedule so right that no one could ever mess with your calendar. Use Google, use Outlook, use Yahoo. I don't care what you use, but use a calendar. Wake up in the morning, look at it, go, okay, so what I got going on today, right? And then lastly, do the journal exercise. By the way, you can do this once a quarter. It'll keep you in check. 7 days of journaling what you do every day. And at the end, track how much red versus how much gold. And then imagine to yourself, what can I do to have more gold in my life? All right, guys, I'm going to kill it now because I'm very respectful. If you come to my coaching, I try to be extremely respectful and finish within that hour. I try to do 45 minutes to an hour, but I'm very, 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 very excited to see everybody here. You're welcome back every single Thursday at 11 a.m. However, I will say, next week at 11 a.m., I will not be here. I may have another coach coming on board to do the presentation. I myself won't be here because next week we have a big conference here in South Florida with Tom Ferry. So we've got the New You Real Estate Conference. Hey, Mike, can you type the New You link in there? The New You Real Estate Conference is in South Florida. If you guys can make it, that would be a beautiful thing. It's Thursday. the 3rd. It's an all-day event. Doors open at 8 a.m. Tom Ferry hits the stage somewhere around 9:30 a.m. He takes up the whole morning. And then we've got a lot of great speakers, including myself and a few other great people getting on the stage to talk about all the amazing stuff that we can do for preparation. Newurecon.com. There you go. Newurecon.com. If you can make it, great. I want you guys to use the code FREEDOM when you're checking out. Just use the code FREEDOM at checkout. It'll give you 50% off the ticket price. Okay, guys? So much love to you guys. Super happy to see everybody. I'm glad everybody got some great tips. I'm seeing the comments in the chat box. You guys are very welcome. Look forward to continuing to do this with you guys. Make sure you go to thefreedomsop.com, get into the platform, sign up, download the app. Once you're in there, make a comment, say, hey guys, I'm here, introduce yourself, let everybody know where you're at and what you do. So that way we can become a referral source for you guys as well. All right, guys, take care. Have a fantastic day.